She called it Crazy Old Woman's Wi-Fi. All caps, no password, like she wanted the neighbors to know. I was standing right there in the hallway, mug of chamomile in one hand, phone in the other, just trying to connect. I blinked once, twice, thought maybe my eyes were playing tricks. From the kitchen, I heard Tara's laugh, sharp, bright, just a little too loud. "Did you get on yet?" she called. "The Wi-Fi's called what it always is." I swallowed the bitterness climbing my throat. "I see it," I said, voice steady. "Just taking a minute." My son, Matt, didn't look up from his laptop. He was halfway through some work thing, earbuds in, oblivious, or pretending to be. I backed into the guest room, door half shut behind me, sat on the edge of the twin bed with its floral quilt, the one I'd sent them last Christmas. Still smelled faintly of lavender. I stared at the glowing list of networks. Crazy Old Woman's Wi-Fi. It was hers, no doubt. The only unlocked one in the building, just like she'd said. I didn't say a word. Not to Matt. Not that night. I made tea, ate dinner, laughed when I was supposed to, and at midnight, I sat at the kitchen table, in my robe, scrolling back through every moment since I'd arrived. Tara offering to wash my coat like it smelled. Matt saying I shouldn't worry about bringing dessert. The new lock on the hall closet where I used to keep my things, it had all been small, sharp, camouflaged as kindness, but this was public. Next morning, while they were at brunch, I took out my tablet and checked something. Just a hunch. The Wi-Fi history, the name change. It wasn't new. She'd renamed it 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. That was long before I ever stepped foot in this house. And right then, I knew this wasn't carelessness. It was a message, one she didn't think I'd be smart enough to understand. But she underestimated the wrong woman. Tara said she loved my scarf. "Vintage is so in right now," she said, pouring orange juice into my glass, too fast, too hard. The splash hit the edge. A bright, wet arc landed right on the silk. "Oh no," she gasped, dabbing with a napkin. "I'm such a klutz." I smiled. "It's nothing, just juice." She offered to wash it. I declined. Matt didn't notice a thing. He was already halfway through his eggs, phone buzzing beside him. Work, always work. After breakfast, Tara suggested a trip to the farmer's market. "But you stay in the courtyard," she said, pointing to a shaded bench near the entrance. "We'll do the walking." "Don't want you overdoing it." I nodded, settling onto the wrought iron seat, pretending not to notice how she angled Matt away by the arm. I sat there for 33 minutes, counting, watching children run between vendors, the sun catching in jars of local honey. A boy handed a red balloon to a girl in rain boots. They looked like the past. And in the quiet, I remembered something Ernest once said, years ago, after a dinner where his sister smiled too sweetly over burnt chicken and a ruined checkbook. "When people smile as they cut you, it's not kindness," he'd murmured in the car. "It's choreography." Back at the house, while they unloaded produce and Tara chirped about being so glad I came, I slipped into the guest room for a moment alone. The room felt colder than before, not in temperature, just something beneath the walls. I opened the closet, needing space for my shoes. Something wedged behind the dresser caught my eye, a small wooden box, square, faded, a wedding keepsake from 1979, carved with roses and initials, mine. But I never brought it here. I opened the lid with trembling hands. Inside was a note, folded twice. My own handwriting, slanted and precise. I unfolded it. 3 words, written in ink I recognized but couldn't recall. "Do not trust." My breath caught. I hadn't written that. Had I? The note stayed tucked in my bra, warm against my skin, like a secret heartbeat. All day, I moved through Tara's world like a ghost guest, offering to help shell peas, being told to rest, trying to fold laundry, redirected toward the couch. I said thank you, smiled when I had to, but every time she looked away, I studied her hands, the way her fingers tapped her phone too fast, how her voice dipped to a whisper when Matt walked in the room. At dinner, she poured my wine, then poured Matt's. Hers stayed water. "She's watching her sugar," he said. I hadn't asked. That night, long after they went to bed, I padded out in my slippers, robe wrapped tight. The kitchen light was on. I thought maybe Matt had come down for a snack. But it was her. Tara, pressed against the fridge, phone to her ear, voice low. "She's here till Sunday," she said. "No, she hasn't said anything. I think she knows." My foot slipped slightly on the tile. She didn't hear it, but I did. That sound was enough. I backed away slowly, heart rattling like a drawer of loose forks. In the guest room, I locked the door. Quietly, sat on the bed. Pulled out my journal from the bottom of my suitcase. Old habit. I've kept one since 1982. Mostly grocery lists, sometimes dreams. When Ernest died, I filled 6 in a year. This one was nearly full. I flipped back through the pages, looking for something, anything, to anchor me, and then I saw it. Page 67. Torn. A single page, gone. Ragged edges, pulled out by hand. I checked the date. 3 weeks ago. The same week Tara changed the Wi-Fi name. The same week she stopped calling. The same week I apparently left myself a warning. I closed the book slowly. She thought I was slow, tired, slipping. But I've buried a husband, raised a son, survived 2 recessions and breast cancer in '04. I know the look people give when they think you're not going to last, but I also know what it means when someone starts covering their tracks. Something's coming, and I won't be caught sleeping. Tara made pancakes. "Your favorite, right?" she beamed, setting a plate in front of me. "With blueberries, like you used to make." Used to. Matt shuffled in 10 minutes later, kissed her cheek, gave me a nod like I was furniture. I asked about his work. "Same old," he muttered, then stared at his phone. She filled the silence like she always did, loudly, sweetly, relentlessly. "I'm running to the pharmacy and then Trader Joe's," she chirped. "Mom, relax today, okay? No laundry, no dishes. You're our guest." She left in a rush of perfume and keys, and I, ever obedient, went straight to the laundry room. The basket of clean clothes sat atop the dryer. I folded slowly, eyes scanning the shelves for something, anything, out of place. That's when I saw the ribbon. A thick silk ribbon, crimson, binding a stack of envelopes. They were tucked behind a box of fabric softener sheets. I pulled them down. The first envelope was cream-colored, my handwriting neat on the front. To Matt and Tara, happy 5th anniversary. Unopened. The next, Merry Christmas, love Mom. Still sealed. A dozen more, maybe more than that. Birthday cards, get well cards, a sympathy note from the year Tara miscarried, carefully written, never read. I sat on the floor, each envelope like a slap. At the bottom of the bundle, loose and buried, was a photo, a Polaroid. Me, in 1987, holding baby Matt on our porch swing. But my face had been scratched out, not with scissors, with a pen. A dozen angry lines, thick and jagged, like a child who'd seen something they hated. Or someone. I sat there on the linoleum floor, heart thudding. It wasn't just indifference. This wasn't about forgetting. It was erasure. And I'd just found the evidence. I folded the envelopes back into their bundle and tucked them between the lining of my suitcase. The photo went into my wallet behind my insurance card. When Tara got home, she was humming. Too loud, too sweet. "Hope you got some rest," she smiled, setting down shopping bags. "It's important, you know, at your age." She said it like a compliment. At lunch, she served me half a sandwich and green tea. Matt asked if I wanted to see the video files he'd digitized. "From the old tapes," he said. "You used to carry that camcorder everywhere." I did, for years. Every birthday, school play, lazy Sunday on the couch. We sat on the couch, laptop propped open. The file read, Xmas 2001, Final, MP4. It started slow, shaky camera, tree lights blinking. I saw myself, laughing, hair shorter than, handing Matt a wrapped box. Ernest leaned into frame, making one of his dumb cider jokes. We were a family. And then it glitched. The frame blinked once, then twice, and suddenly, I wasn't there. Just Matt, opening the gift. My laugh was gone, my arms gone, the space beside Ernest empty. I watched silently, something tightening in my chest. "That was a good Christmas," Matt said, sipping soda. "I think we had the ham with cloves." "Did you edit this?" I asked softly. He blinked. "What?" "This video. It skips." He shook his head. "No idea. Maybe the software did that. Cleaned it up or something." Later that night, after they went to bed, I opened the file again. Right-click. Details. Modified. 13 days ago. I closed the laptop. My hands were cold. I went outside for air. The streetlights flickered, and the air was heavy with the smell of someone's sprinkler system running late. At the corner, a woman with a small terrier passed me. She smiled. "You must be visiting," she said. "The young couple mentioned their mother had passed last year. So sorry." I stopped. "What?" She tilted her head. "The couple in the beige house. She said her husband's mother passed. Cancer, I think." My lips parted, but no words came. I just whispered, "No." A pause. "Not yet." The woman's words echoed all night. "She said her husband's mother passed." I barely slept. Every creak in the house sounded like a closing door behind me. At breakfast, I stirred my oatmeal until it went cold. "Matt," I said gently, "do you remember the old Christmas video? The one where I gave you that toy helicopter?" He blinked. "I think so." Tara cut in with a soft chuckle. "Oh, that one. I think we lost the original. Didn't we, hun?" He nodded, but his eyes stayed distant. Lost. Of course. I excused myself early, said I needed to write postcards. Instead, I waited until they left for errands and slipped into the office. Their family computer was old but familiar. Same toolbar, same desktop icons. I opened the recycling bin. 5 files. 2 stood out. POA Draft TB Dockets MC Intake Form 630 Deceased PDF. My stomach turned. I opened them. One was a power of attorney draft, naming Tara as medical proxy. The other, a memory care intake form for a facility I'd never heard of. My status, deceased, parent was patient, both with my name, my birthday, my old home address. I stared at the screen, hands trembling. This wasn't cruelty anymore. This was erasure on paper. I deleted the files, emptied the bin, and then I heard it. The whir of the printer in the next room. Slow, mechanical, deliberate. I stood frozen, then moved. One page slid out, face down. I picked it up with fingers that didn't feel like mine. It was a document, a signature form, my name already typed at the bottom. Just waiting for me to sign. I didn't touch the form, just slid it under the mattress, under the far corner where Tara wouldn't check. My fingers were ice. The next morning I told them I was tired. Maybe just a rest day. Tara smiled too wide. "Of course, Mom, whatever you need." Around midday I lay on the bed, eyes closed, breathing shallow. The window was cracked. I heard her outside, pacing on the deck. "I've got everything. She's nearly there. No resistance. Sunday at the latest." The words hit like falling ice. Sunday. Always Sunday. That night, while the water ran and Tara sang softly in the shower, I crept into their bedroom. Matt's side was bare, neat, minimal. Hers was a nest of lotions, receipts, and perfectly folded notes. The nightstand drawer creaked. Inside, a small black journal. I took it. Open to the middle. It wasn't diary entries. It was logs, bullet points, dates, notes. June 4th. Agitation after coffee. No recall of yesterday's schedule. June 11th. Suggested confusion over lunch bill. Redirected easily. Each entry was clipped. Cold. each one about me. At the top of every page, MEB, my initials. My identity boiled down to a clinical case file. I flipped to the last page. Final push, Sunday. Confusion increasing. Obedient. Obedient. I replaced the journal with a blank notebook from my suitcase. Same size, same weight. Then zipped the black book into a side compartment of my own bag. But as I did, the doorknob turned. Once, then again. Soft. Testing. I froze. And someone, quiet as dust, walked away. The black journal didn't let me sleep. I sat on the guest bed, flipping page after page. Most were medical notes, mundane, petty. Declined toast. Slept past 7:30. Cried during TV show, possibly hormonal. But one page stopped me cold. Plan B, if resistance. Dr. N at clinic, ready to confirm. Documents in file C4. Memory event must be escalated. Escalated. I stared at the word until it blurred. By dawn, I had a plan of my own. At breakfast, I set my spoon down gently. I should stop by the pharmacy later, I said. My joints are acting up again. Tara perked up. Oh, I'll drive. Of course she would. The ride was filled with talk of new vitamin regimens and safe supplements. But when we arrived, I clutched my purse and smiled. Oh dear, I forgot the name of the cream. Let me ask inside. Tara hesitated, then nodded. I stepped inside. The lights were too bright, the music too cheerful. I walked to the counter, smiled at the young woman behind it. Do you happen to know the clinic hours? I asked, voice light. I've seen Dr. N before. Is he in today? She tapped her screen. Oh, Dr. N doesn't work Tuesdays. But it's Thursday, I said softly. She frowned. Right, but he hasn't worked here since last fall. He retired, I think. Do you need someone else? I shook my head. Just curious. Tara was waiting in the car, hand tight on the steering wheel. Everything okay? Forgot the name of the cream, I said. That night, in the guest bathroom with the fan running, I dialed the clinic from the back of my pill bottle. A soft voice answered. Good evening, Pinebrook Clinic. Yes, I said. Could you confirm whether Dr. N is practicing there? I was told he was involved in my file. A pause. Then, Ma'am, Dr. Nicholas hasn't worked here in over a year. I tightened my grip on the sink. And, who told you he was involved in your care? I didn't answer. I just hung up and stared at my own reflection in the fogged mirror. Because someone wanted me gone, and they'd already picked the doctor. Before sunrise, I made copies, black and white scans of the journal entries, printout of the clinic call log, that photo with my face slashed in pen, all slid into a padded envelope, addressed to Evelyn R. Chase, my attorney since Ernest passed. I planned to walk it to the post office while they were still sleeping, but at 8:03, Tara appeared like a magician. Family brunch today! Surprise! I stalled. I thought I'd stay in. No way, you need sunshine. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, keys jingling like handcuffs. So I went. The cafe was cheerful, curated, wrong. Waiter knew her name, table already reserved. Matt smiled politely, said little. Halfway through scrambled eggs and forced laughter, Tara pulled out a small velvet box and slid it across the table. A little thank you for being here. Inside was a silver medical alert bracelet, my name, birth year, and beneath that, memory risk, monitor. My throat closed. My fingers stayed steady. It's beautiful, I said. Matt watched me carefully. I watched the waiter. He brought the check with a flourish, set it down, nodded at Tara. I saw the corner of the slip, scrawled in pen. DNR, confirmed. DNR, do not resuscitate. I wiped my mouth. Excuse me, I murmured. Restroom. In the stall, I counted to 30, then opened the small window, hoisted myself up, slow but steady. My feet hit the gravel behind the cafe. I didn't run. I walked, steady, south, toward the post office, toward a name that still knew mine, because now I knew. They weren't waiting for me to die. They were helping it along. I walked 2 blocks from the cafe to the post office. The padded envelope slid through the slot with a soft thunk. Some part of me exhaled. At least one piece of the truth was leaving this town. At a gas station, I bought a cheap flip phone for cash, no questions asked. On the slow walk back, I practiced my face in every shop window, neutral, mild, forgettable. When I stepped inside the house, Tara's arms opened wide. "Oh, thank God you're back. We were worried." Matt's confusion looked real. His eyes flicked between us like a man waking from a dream. Dinner was roast chicken, cloth napkins, wine. Too much formality. Tara kept glancing at her smartwatch, thumbs brushing quick across the screen. I ate slowly, smiled when spoken to. After dishes, I went to the guest room, left the door ajar, lamp off. Their voices rose down the hall. "She's my mother," Matt's voice cracked like a teenager's. "You said this would be simple." "Not for much longer," Tara hissed. "We need the signature Sunday, or it's done." I held the flip phone under the blanket, thumbed record. Every word slid into digital memory like coins into a jar. When silence fell, I saved the file, named it Sunday, and then I saw it. The power outlet by my bed flickered blue. I leaned closer. Under the nightstand, a faint click. A small black device blinked once, twice. I reached out, heart hammering. It wasn't a plug. It was an ear. They'd been listening, all along. I pulled the bug from the socket with shaking fingers. Small, sleek, black. I crushed it with the heel of my shoe until it cracked like a beetle, then flushed the plastic shards down the guest toilet. No more pretending. No more Sunday. At sunrise, while Tara sang in the shower, some soft indie nonsense, I slid into Matt's office. The top drawers were dull. Receipts, pens, a tangled phone charger, but the bottom was locked. I pulled a pin from my bun. 3 twists. Click. Inside, a folder labeled Health MEB, my initials again. Inside were forms, power of attorney, advance directive, financial transfers, all half-filled. My signature faintly traced in pencil beneath each line, like someone practicing over and over. I snapped photos, every page, every word, then slid it back exactly the way I found it. At lunch, I said I felt dizzy, fuzzy. Tara's eyes lit up behind concern. "Oh no, maybe you should lie down, Mom." Matt hovered awkwardly, unsure. "Let me help you," she said, hand already reaching. I waved her off, but I saw it in her face. She thought the plan was working. That night, I factory reset my real phone. Every memory wiped. The burner stayed by my pillow. If I needed to run, I would. Just after midnight, the burner buzzed softly. 1 message. No sender. They know you mailed it. I sat up in the dark and waited for morning. Matt asked me to take a walk, just the 2 of us. We didn't go far, 3 blocks down, 3 blocks back. He didn't talk much. Birds chirped. Lawnmowers buzzed. The world had the nerve to feel normal. Midway through the loop, he stopped. "Did you mail something yesterday?" I looked at him. The same boy who used to sleep with a nightlight and cry over turtles flipped on their backs. His eyes held something close to fear. "I mailed a letter," I said simply. "That's all." He nodded, but didn't smile. Back at the house, Tara was waiting. 2 mugs of tea already poured. "Chamomile for us girls." I lifted mine, let the steam kiss my face. Then, when she turned her back, I poured it into the thirsty soil of her peace lily. 10 minutes later, I felt the pounding, not from tea, from fear. My fingers trembled, my vision narrowed. I checked my suitcase, the velvet pouch where I keep my necklace, Ernest's last anniversary gift, was gone. I searched every pocket. Nothing. "Tara," I said, keeping my voice calm, "did you move my necklace?" She blinked. What necklace? The one on the nightstand, gold chain, ruby pendant. Her smile tightened. There was nothing there, Mom. That night, after the house went quiet, I opened the burner, typed one message. Received? Sent it to Evelyn's backup number. No reply. 5 minutes later, the power flickered, then died. No hum, no glow, just the dark. And from the hall, the slow, deliberate creak of my bedroom door, I didn't breathe. The door creaked open, then froze. No shadow, no footsteps, just dark air and silence thick as syrup. I sat up all night, back against the headboard, burner phone clutched like a relic. By dawn, the world returned, light through curtains, a bird somewhere. The power buzzed back on like nothing happened. At breakfast, Tara chuckled, "Blown fuse, freak thing." But the circuit panel was untouched, every switch aligned. Later, she announced a grocery run. Just a quick trip. Matt lingered behind, mug in hand, eyes scanning the floor. Then, quietly, he stepped into my room, closed the door. "What's going on?" he asked. And so I told him. The Wi-Fi name, the erased photo, the forged documents in his drawer, the bracelet, the DNR note, the listening device under my bed. He didn't interrupt, just stared. By the end, his face looked like glass about to crack. "I didn't know," he whispered. I believed him. Almost. We didn't hear the door, but we heard the keys hit the counter. Tara was back. Early. Matt's eyes widened. Without a word, he ducked into the guest room closet. Footsteps approached. "Mom?" Tara's voice, fake sweet. "Who were you talking to?" I turned. Calm. Just myself. A pause. Then, from inside the closet, Matt's phone buzzed. Once, twice. Tara stopped walking. The air between us held its breath. Tara didn't knock, just stood in the hall listening. Then softly, "All right then," she said, voice sugar-laced. "Dinner's at 6. She walked away. Too calm. Matt stepped out of the closet like a man unlearning gravity. "She knows," he whispered. I nodded. "She's never going to let you leave," he said. "She already tried." That night, while Tara played hostess with meatloaf and wine, we played roles. I laughed when I had to. Matt cleared his plate. Tara poured seconds like it was Thanksgiving. But under the table, my hand clutched the burner phone. At midnight, I told Matt plainly, "You help me leave tomorrow, or I disappear. Your choice." His face crumpled, then resolved. "I'll pull the car around at 5 a.m. At 4:55, I was waiting at the side door, suitcase packed. No sound upstairs. At 5:02, the car rolled up. By 5:03, we were gone. The highway unfurled like ribbon. Neither of us spoke. 22 minutes in, Matt's phone rang. He checked the screen. Answered. "Yeah," he said quietly. "She knows." I felt the shift before I saw it. Flashing blue lights in the rear view. A patrol car, gaining. Matt pulled to the shoulder, hands at 10 and 2. The officer was young, calm, female. She approached my window. "Ma'am," she said, polite but firm, "we received a welfare alert. Your caregiver reported confusion and possible elopement." I stared at her. She didn't blink. "Are you in danger?" I opened my mouth and said, "Yes," I told the officer. "I'm in danger." Her brows lifted. "From him?" "No," I said. "From my daughter-in-law." She took a step back. "Can you explain?" I handed her the burner. Photos, audio files, the image of the medical bracelet, the forged documents. Every breadcrumb I'd gathered, she called it in. For 30 minutes, we sat in tight silence while dispatch confirmed details. Matt didn't speak, just stared straight ahead, hands folded. Another cruiser pulled up. And then, Tara. She pulled in fast, hair perfect, voice louder than it needed to be. "She's ill!" she cried. "She wandered off. She doesn't know where she is." I didn't look at her. Matt did. and said, "That's not true." The officer raised a hand. "Everyone step back." They separated us. Questions, statements, verification. In the end, they didn't take me to a hospital. They took me to a house with blue shutters and a soft-spoken woman named Renee. "Elder Advocacy Services," she said. "You're safe here." I sat at a round table, sipped tea, told everything. Renee didn't flinch. "You're not the first," she said. She slid a folder across the table. Inside, photos, names, testimonies, women like me, vanished in plain sight. On one report, I saw a name, not Tara's, her maiden name, linked to 3 other cases. One still marked missing. Renee closed the folder gently. "Her real name's not Tara," she said. "It's Marla Ann Kincaid. Changed it 10 years ago." I stared at the page. An old license photo. Same smile, same cold behind the eyes. She was investigated in Idaho. Similar pattern. Widow. 1 son. Sudden memory care push. What happened? Case fell apart. Woman passed before court could act. Death ruled natural. Renee looked at me. She chooses women with clean histories, predictable habits, isolated. I thought of the scratched photo, the bracelet, the forged forms. It was never random. It was surgical. That afternoon, Renee handed me an envelope. "From Evelyn, certified. She got your documents. She's building a case." I almost cried. But we needed Matt, so I recorded a statement. Everything, from the Wi-Fi insult to the last teacup, names, dates, proof. The next morning, Renee brought someone new. Detective Holzer, older, quiet. He sat beside me, laid a copy of the DNR form on the table. "Filed with a private facility out of county," he said. "Intake scheduled Monday." I stared. Sunday wasn't just convenient. It was the deadline. My execution date. Before I could speak, the burner buzzed. 1 photo. No text, no number, just an image. My old house, lights on, and a silhouette in the window, watching. I stared at the photo until the screen dimmed. The house was mine, but not anymore. "Could it be a bluff?" I asked Renee. "Photos can be old, or sent from anywhere," she said. "No one knows you're here." But something in her voice had changed. That night, I didn't sleep, just stared at the ceiling, counting each distant car. By morning, Holzer returned. "He talked," the detective said, sitting beside me. "Your son gave a statement, turned over the files." My chest collapsed with relief. "It's official now. We've opened the case." I nodded, couldn't speak. Renee slid a box of tissues toward me, quiet and kind. Later, she handed me a new phone. "Prepaid, safe number. Use it only if you leave here." She gave me a list of temporary housing options. "Worst-case scenarios only," she added. I almost smiled, but then her face changed. She checked her inbox, froze. "You need to see this." She turned the screen, a court filing. Filed 7:04 a.m. today. Petitioner, Marla A. Kincaid. Respondent, Margaret E. Barlow. Motion, emergency guardianship. Citing self-neglect, disorientation, impaired judgment. Hearing. Tomorrow, 9:00 a.m. I read it twice, 3 times. Renee whispered, "She's accelerating." I touched the screen like it might burn. "No," I said. "It's a trap." Renee moved fast. She called Holzer, then Evelyn. By noon, Evelyn had filed an emergency objection to the guardianship motion. She attached every document we'd collected. But the judge? He had a reputation. "Expedites things," Holzer muttered. "Likes clean cases, no noise." Evelyn didn't flinch. "We'll give him something to hear." I insisted on testifying. "I'm not hiding," I said. That evening, Evelyn arrived, hair up, file folder thick with fury. She hugged me tight, called me Maggie, whispered, "We've got this." We sat at the kitchen table of the safe house. Renee made tea. Evelyn laid out strategy. "You speak clearly, factually. No theatrics. They'll try to paint you as confused. Don't give them an inch. Renee coached me on courtroom flow. Evelyn explained the risk. If they win, Maggie, they'll have you in a facility by Monday. I nodded. No tears. Just fire. That night, I reviewed every detail. Wi-Fi names, scratched photos, tea I didn't drink. I held Ernest's old handkerchief, still smelled faintly of cedar. I whispered my statement aloud, over and over, until it felt like breath. No sleep. At dawn, I dressed carefully. Powder blue blouse, gold pin, small earrings, a little mascara. Not to impress, to remind them I'm still here. When we reached the courthouse, Evelyn held the door. Inside, the room smelled like dust and worry. And there she was, Tara, already seated, smiling. The courtroom was colder than I expected. The judge, a man in his 60s with a silver mustache and tired eyes, flipped through the papers like they were grocery ads. Tara's lawyer stood first. She's disoriented, isolated. Last week she wandered into traffic. I turned sharply. That never happened. Evelyn stood. Objection. No record of that exists. In fact, we have evidence to the contrary. She clicked her remote. A slideshow began. Photos, audio clips, scans of documents, the Wi-Fi name, the bracelet, the forged forms. The judge frowned, interested now. I was called to the stand, swore on the Bible, sat down. My hands trembled once, then steadied. I'm not confused, I said. I've been erased. I told them about the cards Tara never opened, about the photo scratched out, the video edited, the bracelet, the voice from the closet, the burner phone. My name is Margaret Elaine Barlow, I said. Someone tried to write me out before I was done living. Evelyn nodded once, proud. Tara shifted, leaned forward. That's not... Evelyn held up a hand. You'll get your turn. The judge scribbled notes, then closed the file. I'll recess until tomorrow, ruling at 10 a.m. Court adjourned. As I rose, Evelyn helped me into my coat. I slipped my hand into the pocket, felt paper, unfolded it. 5 words. Neat, careful, familiar handwriting. He was never on your side. I read the note again under lamplight. He was never on your side. Matt? Had he flipped? Was this all a show? Evelyn placed a steady hand on mine. Let's not borrow betrayals, she said. Focus on tomorrow. But I stared at the handwriting. Slanted, clean, feminine, not Matt's. Later I showed it to Renee. Her eyes narrowed. She checked the logs from the front porch camera. Last night, she said, someone came to the outer hallway, brief, masked, left no trace but this. A woman, alone. The thought made my bones ache. At dawn, I dressed again. Same blouse, same earrings. Needed to feel consistent. The courthouse felt more hostile this time. Tara's smile was wider. Too wide. The judge entered, read quickly, spoke plainly. Petition for guardianship is denied. Insufficient cause. My lungs filled. But, he added, a court-appointed psychiatrist will conduct a wellness evaluation within 14 days. Location and schedule to be arranged. Not a victory. Not a loss. Evelyn leaned in. We can work with this. We left as quietly as we came. Outside, the fall air bit harder. That's when I saw her. Tara standing near the side lot. Not with Matt. With a woman. Dark green coat, black gloves. Just like the one from Renee's footage. Their hands touched. Briefly. Not a handshake. Something closer. Something practiced. They knew each other. And that note. That wasn't a warning. It was a wedge. The courthouse left a film on me I couldn't scrub off. Back at the safe house, I stared at the wall, watching the shadows change shape. Evelyn sorted papers. Renee clicked keys. Both trying to untangle a web someone else had spun tight. Renee ran a trace on the woman in green. Evelyn dug into Tara's past aliases. Every time she leaves someone, Evelyn muttered, There's a signature, a shift of assets, then silence. It felt less like betrayal and more like repetition. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked the block, crisp leaves underfoot, empty porches, a bench near the post office. On it, taped under the slat, was a note. Same handwriting. The sun won't save you. No signature, no date, no explanation, just a truth or a threat. Back at the house, I held it like a riddle. Renee was waiting. She looked tired, but charged. "I found her," she said. The woman in green. "Name's Lacey, former nurse. License suspended 2 years ago. Last job?" She turned the screen. "Greenwood Pines. Same care home listed on your DNR form." I felt my knees go loose. It wasn't just Tara. It never was. This was a team, and I had no idea how many were left. I stopped waiting to be saved. "If we go public," I told Evelyn, "they can't bury me quietly." She nodded. An hour later, she had a name, Vanessa Dre, investigative journalist, local, credible, known for digging into elder abuse. We met at a diner 2 towns over. I brought everything. The burner phone, the bracelet, the photos, the notes. Vanessa didn't blink, just listened, asked questions, took notes, hit record. "This is a story," she said. "It's going to run fast." She left with a copy of the files and my blessing. That night, I felt something I hadn't in weeks, hope, until the call came. Renee answered. Her face stiffened. "He's here," she said, "at the gate." Matt, pale, hollow-eyed, holding something in a manila envelope. "I didn't know," he said. "Not really. Not how far it went." Inside was a flash drive. We plugged it in. Audio. Tara's voice. Lacey's. "Just time it right. Make sure she forgets Tuesday and says it was Thursday. If you date the journal back, it looks natural. Cold. Clinical. Planned. We had everything." Then my phone buzzed. One new message. "Too late. Sunday still stands." Renee's hand hovered over the calendar. Her eyes locked with mine. Tomorrow's Sunday. Sunday didn't feel like Sunday. It felt like a ticking clock. Holzer sent a patrol car. Renee double-checked every lock. Evelyn brewed coffee she didn't drink. By 10, the house was quiet. By 11, Renee was gone. No note, no word, just her phone on the kitchen table. Evelyn called every number she had. Nothing. Matt offered to drive the nearby roads. I sat on the couch, fists clenched around Ernest's handkerchief. Then Vanessa's article went live. Front page, names redacted, photos blurred. But the story, it sang. Comments poured in. Others, women, families, all with versions of the same scar. Then, a knock at the back door. We froze. Matt peered out, then opened it slowly. Lacey, alone. Eyes rimmed red, coat inside out. "She left me behind," she whispered. "I didn't sign up for this." She handed me her phone. Messages. T. Increased dose Sunday. T. She'll sign if she's confused. T. Room is ready. Monday. My blood ran cold. "I'll testify," Lacey said. "Whatever you need." Holzer was already en route, but before he arrived, the front gate buzzer screamed. A voice, sharp, familiar. Tara Kincaid requesting access. Demanding, not asking. Matt looked at me. Evelyn reached for the recorder. I stood, straightened my blouse. "Let her in," I said. "But this time, I'm the one recording."